Okay, hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Uh, Thank you, Josh, for coming on today. I think originally we either met through Threads or Instagram. I'm not sure which one, but like either one.
Yeah, I don't recall myself, but it's good to
Yeah.
be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know you post a lot of like self-improvement, self-development content, and I kind of just wanted to like dive into like learn more about you and like your journey. So like dive into like how it started and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try and share the short version because there is a long version, but a little bit about me. So I'm 27 years old. Live out here in Dallas, Texas. I've been here for the last like 3 or 4 years now. Originally from Seattle, but spent most of my life in Arizona. Went to college and have a lot of family out there. But in terms of my self-development journey, it really started back when I was like 17 or 18 years old. I don't know if anybody on here is familiar with Ty Lopez, but I remember being like a high school kid and being super ambitious and having these big goals in life, but not really knowing where to start. And I remember seeing Ty Lopez and like his ads. He's famous for like here in my garage, and he had all these books and nice cars and stuff. So that's really what started it for me was seeing his content and realizing that really there is a big gap between where I wanted to be and where I was. And a big part of that was self-development and improving myself. And I always understood that, people that are successful in life are the ones that continuously develop themselves, work on themselves, and strive to be that, not perfect person, but I would say the best version of themselves in
Hmm.
general. So.
Okay. So I know that you post like a lot of trading content. Like I, I don't know, like would you say that you're mostly like self-development or trading or kind of do a mix of both?
Yeah, definitely both. So I started trading about 4 years ago. It's been a journey, a lot of ups and downs. And I think it really ties well with self-development because after about a year or two of day trading, I realized that it wasn't so much about the charts. It was more so about your EQ, your emotional quotient, your self-development, how you react to things, your emotions, all this type of stuff. So I've been trading about 4 years, been developing myself for longer than that. But as soon as I started trading, it really kind of forced me to give that part of my life more attention because I realized that there were a lot of things that I wasn't aware of about myself that was affecting my results in trading. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I noticed that like a lot with entrepreneurship and just like me trying to post online and like build a business. It's like a lot of it is like self-development underneath it all. Like that's like a big part of it. Like I was doing self-development way before this, but now it's like even more like amplified, I feel like.
Absolutely, yeah. And I forgot to kind of start things off, but do you want to give a little bit about yourself and maybe I also saw that you're very big into self-development as well, which I think is maybe how we connected in some way
Yeah.
or another through threads. But do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like I don't know when my self-development journey started. I think it started mostly with like therapy because I dealt with a lot of anxiety and so I started with therapy and then like just going to the gym, working out, like that started in my early 20s. Well, I've always been like an active person, like doing sports and stuff like that. But then like I really got into the gym and working out and like bodybuilding and and um, and then I'm trying to think like I think just like working regular jobs as like there has to be another way. Like I can't continue to do like work a regular job. Like I need to make money some other way. And like I've looked into trading a little bit. Like I tried to do that. Like I tried to have people like teach me how to do trading. And like it never really stuck for me. So I kind of was like, let me go into entrepreneurship instead of trade, like having my own business. So that's kind of where I'm at now, but I would definitely like to invest more in the future and stuff. So
That's
I need
amazing.
to like
Yeah,
get into that a little bit more.
definitely. I'm glad you brought up fitness too, because that's been a huge part of my life as well. And I think self-development ties into that, right? Like I always say a lot of people work on their body more than they work on their mind. And I think, I think both are significant. And a lot of the habits that give you a healthy body are also the ones that give you a healthy mind. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that, but I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
It's powerful. Yeah.
So how did you like get into trading?
Good question. So, this is going to be funny, but way back about 5, 6 years ago, similar to you, I've always been very entrepreneurial minded, always been focused on, ways of developing multiple sources of income for myself. And I remember about 5 years ago, I started getting a lot of ads on Instagram for people that were traders. And at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like the easiest way to make money. And over time, I realized that it's actually the complete opposite. It takes years and years of learning, of winning and failing to truly see the results from it. But that's how it got started. That's kind of what planted that seed in my mind for me was Instagram ads. And man,
Oh,
sometimes the algorithm can be so like it
it
knows
really
exactly what
does.
you're looking for. It's actually kind of scary,
Yeah.
but yeah, I remember back then that's kind of how it started for me. And then I started connecting with different traders online. And, I was always very skeptical just because I think a lot of times people portray trading in the wrong way, making a lot of money overnight and all this stuff, which is possible. But I think a lot of people come in with the wrong expectations. So I was kind of in that boat where I was very skeptical for a long time, didn't really want to invest anything into my education, was just trying to learn as much as I could from free sources. But it got to a point where I was like, all right, if I really want to learn this the right way, I'm going to have to invest in myself. And so that's what I did. Luckily, found the right people, right community, and that's really what put me on that path.
So what were you doing before? Like, were you working a regular job and then you slowly started to get into trading?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work in sales, technology sales, but it's kind of funny because my what I studied in college has nothing to do with what I do today. But I studied supply chain in college, supply chain management. So don't really use my degrees today, but I still do sales. Day trading is a side source of income for me right now. But in the future, I would love to be able to go full time with that because honestly, it's become my passion. And I think, you know, when you find your passion, you gotta pursue it full force. But
Yeah.
yeah, what is it that you do for work?
Uh, well, so because the same kind of scenario happened to me, like I went to school for personal training, which I
Wow.
enjoy working out, but once I started training people, I was like, I like this more as a hobby versus a career. So I stopped personal training. I don't even use my degree, but I did go back to school for accounting, and then I've been doing like accounting work. So that's
Very
what
cool.
I do for work, but
Wow.
not
Yeah,
long term. Like I
accounting was
don't want
my
to do it.
most difficult subject. So that
Accounting?
cheers to you. Yeah, I don't know what it was in college, but I absolutely struggled with accounting for some reason.
It's like so easy. It's like I get so bored at my job because it's just like so easy and it's like I need something a little bit more like stimulating and different every single day.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, I definitely cannot say the same.
So what kind of trading do you do?
So I started off with Forex or foreign exchange, which is pretty much where you're exchanging one currency for another. Um, and did that for a couple of years and then slowly started to work my way towards futures, which is what I love doing now. Futures, as well as like crypto has been very big for me the last couple of years. Just with the way, the world is going and technology is going, I realized that crypto is something that I had to learn. But
Hmm.
for me, I would say currently today, I mostly do foreign exchange and futures for the most part.
What is futures? I've never heard of
Futures.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so futures, pretty much every market has a future, like the commodity space, like so things like gold, silver, even things like cattle, corn, they're pretty much they're derivative markets. So you're pretty much predicting whether the price of something is going to go up or down.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I've looked into Bitcoin a little bit, or like I try to figure it out because I was like, what is this? Like I should probably learn a little bit. Basically, I mean, it's kind of just like another stock like that you invest into. basically. Like how would you like explain like what Bitcoin is like shortly? How would you just what would you say it is?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the whole crypto space in general is it's a completely different world, right? In my opinion, it's kind of the future of technology. But rather than thinking of like Bitcoin or some of the other coins as like stocks, like you were talking about, I like to think of it as like ecosystems or like blockchains where other coins can be built on top of. So um, you have like main cap coins, so things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then there's all these different projects and other coins that are built on the technology from those. So for me, yeah, I'm definitely not the most knowledgeable in crypto compared to a lot of my friends, but it's a space that, I think everybody should learn about because I
Mhm.
think the day is going to come where, people don't really have a choice. It's like something that they have to learn if they want to survive.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's like it's supposed to become our new currency almost. Like it's going that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the space where, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like currencies that are being digitized, and I don't know, it solves a lot of challenges in the real world. So I think it's definitely worth learning about for
Mhm.
sure.
Because I know, like you said, there's like main ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but like my idea, like what I learned about it was that people can just like make their own. Like there could be like a bunch of different
Yeah.
ones, but like, do you
hmm
know how, like how you're supposed to know which is like I don't know one that's gonna like do well or not do well? Like,
Yeah, so I'm not, I'm not like a financial advisor or anything like that, but what I like to look for in crypto projects are a few things. The first is utility, right? So utility is important because kind of like you were saying, a lot of people will create their own coins and um, a lot of times they don't really have any real utility behind it. By utility, I mean like a real use case. Does it solve a problem? The other thing that I like to look for is, like the community. So the community is huge because if there's only a few people that are holding a specific coin, it's probably not not a good, it probably doesn't have that longevity of some of the other ones. So that's the second thing that I look for is there a community, is the ecosystem pretty built? And then the third thing I would say is partnerships. Every single crypto, every single coin has different partnerships that they have. And I think it's important to look at that because you want, personally for myself, I like to look at coins that have more of a reputable what's the word? I like to look at coins that have multiple partnerships with big companies because it tells me that there's probably more stability in that project versus,
gotcha.
some influencer who randomly started their own coin. But
Yeah,
those are the three things I like to look at
gotcha. Okay,
crypto.
it's good to know. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm learning a little bit more, but I feel like I would definitely have to research a lot more and learn more about this, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
that's the biggest thing I tell people is do your own research. There's so much information out there. And I guess the last thing I'd kind of throw out there too around that is um, I personally like to invest in the things that I believe in, things that I use, right?
mm,
So for me, that's always in the back of my mind because it's a lot easier for me to hold a coin when it's actually something I believe in and I see the future for it. So that's another tip I would throw out there. But yeah, you can pick my brain whenever. I love.
okay, I'll be coming and
Um,
asking you questions like, what do I
yeah.
do? You'll be my financial advisor.
No, no. Yeah, but so I've got a question for you. I mean, obviously you're very big into spirituality. I think that's also part of the reason why we connected is, I'd say the last year or so, that's something that I've definitely been exploring more for myself. Because, I'm a big believer that energy is real, right? Frequency is real. A huge believer in things like meditation and mindfulness and all this stuff. So, um, can you touch a little bit on that and how that's made an impact in your life
Like as a whole.
as a whole? Yeah.
I mean, it's shifted my life, I feel like completely, like my perception on things before I felt I don't, like I don't know if I'd say like more. lost or confused in a sense. I mean, I still feel that way now, but I don't know, there's just like another aspect to life that I felt like it brought a different perspective to, that it's like a bigger picture to life that I didn't have before. Um and yeah, I don't know how to like explain that, but um yeah, it just like opens my mind in a different way, and especially like perspectives, because like everything is perspective, right? So it's always like a perspective shift. What like whatever you're dealing with, it's almost like it sounds like kind of like cheesy, but it's like I don't know, like I don't know how to explain it, like a sensei or something, you know? It's like it's all about perspective, you know? But that's
No.
literally everything, you know?
It is, yeah, yeah, and that's I like that perspective that you shared because perspective is really everything. I mean, it's crazy to think that we all live in the same world, but we all experience it very differently. We all see it very differently,
Yes,
and
exactly.
that's something that's always, going back to what we were talking about earlier about self-development. Like I'm constantly trying to shift my perspective because I'm well aware that, the beliefs, the thoughts, the habits I have come from the, maybe the environment or the things I've experienced over time. So that's huge. I'm really glad you shared that. And around like spirituality, what do you think, like what's made the biggest difference for you on that journey? Was it meditation? Was it journaling? Was there anything that really helped propel you forward on that?
I think like a mix of things. It depends on the time in my life or like what I feel like I need the most. Like I feel like meditation is a big one that I still continue to use and like go back to. Journaling, I feel like that can be a big one, like whether I'm doing shadow work or just like writing down goals. Sometimes I just write down a goal and then it just like happens. Like I'm like, damn, it's that easy. I just gotta write it down and it happens. Not all the time, but sometimes it works like that. I'm like, damn. Um, and then like microdosing mushrooms, that's like a big tool for me that I use. So I feel like those are probably my top three that I go to.
Very cool. No,
What
I
about
was
you?
smiling when you were talking about writing down goals because there's been so many times where that's worked for me. And
Mhm.
I've done a lot of studying around like the conscious, subconscious mind. And I think when you write down goals, as cliche as it might sound, for a long time, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's talking about writing down goals. But as soon as I started to do it and I started to see the magic happen in my life, like that's something that I still do to this day because it's extremely powerful. I feel like when you put something on paper, your mind starts to think of ways to achieve it and accomplish it without you even knowing. And I
Yeah.
think this may be going deep, but like I think the subconscious mind is like the human superpower in my way because
Mhm.
it's the reason why most people just act out of habit. I feel like respond to certain things a certain way, but I feel like if you can learn to program your subconscious mind, one of the ways is by writing down your goals. Yeah, it can be a game changer. I mean, it has for me, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of things sound very cliche until you like it finally clicks in your brain and you like finally get it and you're like, "Oh, that's why everyone is saying that thing." Like it sounds so simple, but then like once it actually clicks in your brain, you're like, "Oh, like it just makes sense." And it's like then you want to go
Yeah.
preach it to other people and you're like, "I sound like that cliche person," but it's like so legit.
No, it's crazy because I was having that conversation with somebody last week, and it's like it's usually the simple things that we overlook or neglect that have the biggest impact. Like it's a lot of people think there's like this magic secret to accomplishing a certain thing, but really it's like I feel like a lot of it you already know. It's just you haven't. It's like to know and not do is to not know at all, right? That's one of my favorite quotes, but it's so true because there's a lot of simple things that if you just implement in your life
Mhm.
can really drastically change the whole path you're on.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I love talking about goals because it's I feel like if you don't have a goal or purpose that you're pursuing in life, you're really not living.
yeah. I
So
agree. I like New Year's. New Year's is my favorite holiday because I like setting goals. It sounds silly.
as long as you stick to them, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not one of
Yeah.
the New Year's resolution people.
I try not to be. I like to like look back throughout the year and see how many goals that I wrote down that I achieved. But
Yeah,
Um,
it's
sometimes
awesome.
I think like about perspective. Sometimes I feel like we get caught in like a routine or like an unconscious pattern or something. Like
Yeah.
I notice, at least for me, like I get really sucked into like what I call the matrix.
The major.
Just like really get sucked into your character, and
Yeah.
then you're like you take a step back and you're like, why am I taking this like so seriously or something, like, or I need to like shift my perspective about this and like feel like I have to like get back on track. Does that happen to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And going back to spirituality, because I love talking about this topic, but I think awareness is huge, right? I that's something that I've been paying a lot more attention to this last year is being aware, being present, because I think that's truly where the magic is. I think a lot of times we're either living in the future or we're living in the past, but true happiness, in my personal opinion, is in the present. And so kind of what you were saying really resonated with me because it's one of the hardest things to do, but I think it's also one of the most fulfilling when you learn how to calm your thoughts and truly be present and be mindful. Because I think a lot of times we're just running on autopilot, especially with social
Mm,
media and phones and stuff. It's never been easier to be distracted. So,
I don't know.
um, yeah,
Get
really
sucked into
powerful.
it. It's so bad. Like I don't have any addictions except for social media. Once I get sucked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have an addiction.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate.
So bad. I need to like figure out how not to get sucked into social media.
One of the things that's helped me is setting timers. At first, it was really annoying. You know how, like, the first time I looked at my screen time, I was like, oh my gosh, something's got to change because it was like hours. I thought I was spending like 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there. No, it was like hours
Yeah.
subconsciously on things that like I was like, wow, this is
Hmm.
not really propelling my life forward. And kind of, I've been creating content now for the last year, I would say. And that's one of the realizations I had was after looking at screen time, I'm like, man, I'm spending all this time, but it's not really bringing me anything in return. And that's when I shifted from like that consumer mentality of just consuming content to, all right, now I actually want to start creating
Yeah.
and giving value. So
That was like a shift for me too. At one point, I was like, I need to create more than I consume. But like,
I
I
love
feel
it.
like as a content creator, sometimes it's hard because you like go on to like create something or something, and then you like get sucked into the algorithm, and you're like, oh, I got sucked in. I need to like focus on just doing what I need to do. It's hard.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a problem I've experienced as well. I think it's really difficult, but I think making that shift is one of the best things you can do, no matter what niche or industry you're in, because the people that produce are the ones that really make it in life, right? I think and usually the producers are also consumers. I'm not saying just produce, not consume,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's an extremely powerful shift to go from, all right, I'm just going to absorb content to, all right, now I actually want to start giving value. Because I'm a big believer too that everybody has value and there's something to learn from everybody. So I'm always constantly trying to learn from
Mhm.
people in different industries, different niches, different ages, because there's always something to learn. So
Oh, that's smart.
yeah.
So, do you teach people to trade or?
So yeah, so I do. We have a community, global community, and we have a platform actually where we have different educators that teach on the platform. They do live streams every single day. They help, teach their strategy. So they have courses that they've built to help people understand, what are some of the things they can look for to give them an edge in the market. And then we also have some pretty cool tools like different scanners and things with AI to help people propel their trading journey forward. But yeah, I do, that platform is the reason why I've learned everything that I know to this day. And on top of that, across the country, we also do different live events and workshops. So we have a big one coming up later this month in Dallas, but we'll usually do some in like California, Nevada, and Arizona, different places across the country. So, um, yeah, that's for me. I think once I started to learn how to trade, I started to become really passionate about helping other people who want to learn because I think it's one of the greatest skills anybody can learn. And, I wish I had a friend growing up that was like, hey, you need to
Yeah.
learn this for yourself, even though it's going to be hard and you're probably going to lose a lot of money along the way. Like, you got to learn this because I think, at least most of the successful people I've met in my life either invest or trade in some
Yeah.
shape or form. So
Yeah. They're actually like I'm really starting to dive more into this that like wealthy people they're operating completely differently than like poor people. Just the way that they go about their money and where they put their money and things.
yeah, yeah, I think, a lot of people are just focused on making active income, which is great, right? Where you're trading your time for money. But I read a book when I was young called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is pretty popular. And one of the things that he talks about in that book is Robert Kiyosaki is that um, rich people find a way to make their money work for them. And that I remember reading that as like a kid. And that planted that seed in my mind of like, okay, how can I do that? And there's a bunch of different ways people can do it, right? There's like
Yeah.
real estate,
Hmm.
different types of businesses, trading, investing. There's all kinds of different things, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's a powerful
Yeah.
concept once you get it.
I don't think I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I think I read his other one that was what was it called? Like wait, do I have it over here? Cash Flow Quadrant. So I read
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
That was pretty good. That was more like real estate and yeah, real estate basically.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, ESBI, the different quadrants and how to
Yeah.
move across.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, that book was really good. So I recommend that anyone to read that and like learn because I feel like, well, they didn't teach us this stuff in school, you know. They don't teach you how to be like financially successful. They're like, okay, just get a job and, you know, get like, I don't know, work that way. But they don't like teach you how to like invest or like real estate or any of that stuff. I was never taught
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I always tell people, right, like high value skills. That's always in the back of my mind. What are successful people doing? What are high value skills that you can learn that will help, you know, take you out of that average category? And there's a bunch of them out there, right? I mean, for me, I think content creation is huge, social media, public speaking, leadership is one of the highest paid skills. There's all kinds of stuff, but I agree with you. I when I went to college, my whole thought process was that at the end of the day, I'm learning how to get a job, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, my goal is never to just stay in that category. It's to progress and develop different businesses and expand beyond that, which it sounds like you have a pretty
Yeah.
similar mindset. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I had no idea before, like, I don't know what age I started becoming aware of this, but I had no idea about any of this. I only knew like get a job and work the rest of your life. And I was like, I can't do this. There has to be another way.
Yeah, I think too, it just has to do with history, right? Like history is one of my favorite subjects, as
Mhm.
nerdy as that sounds, but I think there's a lot you can learn from history if you study it. And I think like, our previous generations, that was what they were taught. And if you just study history and the industrial age and all this stuff, there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down. But I think our parents teach us what they knew. And
Mhm.
so that's always been in the back of my mind too, is that like times have changed. You gotta you gotta evolve and grow. So
Yeah, they're changing very quickly too.
yeah, very.
Mhm. So, I think one of the first videos that I saw was like you trading and like the community that you're in with trading. Was it like actually a house that people can go and live in, like a community of people that do the same thing together? Like that was my idea that I got from
Really?
it. Or that's
No,
not the
no, I mean
case at
we all
all.
live our own
Oh,
individual lives.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Um,
about that.
yeah, yeah, no, we don't yeah, it's not like that, but it's a community across the world. And I think it's extremely powerful when you are learning from people with different levels of experience, different amounts of time in the markets. And for me, like I think that's one of the greatest decisions I made because for a while I was just trying to learn on my own, which you can do, but because it's such a difficult skill set and it's going to require you to, adapt and change and really learn about yourself in order to find your edge, having a community has really made a big difference. But yeah, no,
Okay.
we do like virtual events, we'll do live events here and there. But I think early on, the early days, the way it started was there was a group of people that all started learning how to trade together. And they did, like, they all lived in a house together. And um, Yeah,
That would
so
be cool.
that's
I think that would be cool to live with a bunch of like-minded people who are doing the same thing and trying to grow
oh
together.
yeah.
So,
Trust me, I think about it every day. I mean, looking back, like my journey in college, I lived with a bunch of guys that were just, focused on partying and having fun, and I was sucked into that, which isn't a bad thing, but it was like where I'm at today in life. I think having people around you that
mhm.
are forward thinking and have similar goals and want to move ahead
Yeah.
in life, it's one of the quickest ways you can grow.
Yeah, it's so important to be surrounded by like-minded people or people who are like doing the same thing as you. You know, very important.
Absolutely.
So,
So I'm curious, like, about your fitness journey, because that was another reason why I think we connected. I saw you're very big into fitness, and
mhm,
I am as well. Just recently, I started getting a lot more into running, and
mhm,
I absolutely love it. But what has fitness done in your life? Like, is it? Like, what took you down that path, and like, what's the impact that it's made on you so
yeah.
far?
So we only have like 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna try
Oh,
and do
do
this
we?
like,
Okay,
yeah,
let's
really
let's speed it
quickly.
up then.
But yeah, like I've always been active. Like I did cheerleading and gymnastics. I did that in like my whole life since I was like 3 years old through high school. And then I didn't work out when I was like in college, I think. And then I was like, okay, I started like getting squishy and I was like, I need to start working out. So I started like just going to the gym. And then I was like, oh, I really like this. Well, I went to college for personal training, but I was like, I really enjoy, staying active. Let me, really get serious with this. And like I started just doing like bodybuilding type thing and I got really like into it. And then, I mean, more recently, I kind of haven't been working out as much just because like it took such a toll on my body, like joints and just like muscle pain, like tightness and stuff like that. But I think it's really important, just like, I mean, health wise, mental health wise, like I haven't been working out as much lately, but I don't think I could ever get to the point of like not doing it like at all because it's just like my body just like craves that movement or that like endorphins or like working my muscles. Like it's just like a part of who I am. And I mean, I feel like everyone should work out as long as you're like doing something that you enjoy because I got really bored in the gym. I had to like do other things like pole to like make it not as boring. But
Oh,
yeah, it's always like good to like stay active and
oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Mind, body, spirit, right?
Exactly. Yep, you gotta have a balance of all of them. So
Yeah, yeah. I think too, like what you were saying, recovery has been huge for me, like prioritizing that, sleep, recovery, stretching, like because at the end of the day, it's about longevity, right? It's not just what you can do in like bursts. I think it's more about what you can do over a long period of time. So that's something that I've been doing as well. But
yeah, I need to get a
yeah.
massage like soon. I'm like next week. I'm like planning. I need a massage,
I
so I'm
love
gonna
massages.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, necessary. I'd get one every week if I could, but
Yeah.
they're expensive. But just one last question. I don't know if you
Yeah.
mentioned it already or not. What is your favorite part about trading?
Favorite part about trading? Oh, that's a very good question. I think for me, my favorite part about it is it's it's the easiest hardest way to make money in my opinion because there's a lot that goes into it. People usually would just see a chart and think, "Oh, wow, this is a really easy skill set to learn," but it's really not. There's things like emotional control. There's things like following your strategy, developing a plan for yourself, sticking to it. There's always emotions that play a part in it. When you're in a winning trade, you have a lot of euphoria, you have a lot of confidence, which might affect your next trade. When you're in a losing streak, you have the opposite. You have disbelief, you have fear, you have all these emotions. So for me, my favorite part about trading is that it's taught me so much about myself. Like as cliche as that sounds, it really forced me to become extremely self-aware of myself and really just be aware of like my emotions, my habits, my reactions, which I think mindfulness is one of the best things you can develop. So for me, like the reason I'm so passionate about it is it's more than just, you know, the trading part of it, or the ability to make money from anywhere. For me, it's more about like the self-awareness that it's given me. And of course, making money is cool too, but there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. I always tell people, results are never guaranteed, right? Just because somebody had success never means that you'll have success. But it'll take you down this journey of self-realization that I think nothing else has that effect. So that's what I'm super passionate
That's
about.
that's a great answer.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you on social media?
Absolutely. So I'm most active on Instagram at J underscore Noriega, Noriega 007. So real easy to connect on there, and yeah, reach out with any questions. I love connecting with like-minded people, and similar, I'll share this podcast with my audience as well, and send some people over to you, Shelby.
Oh,
What's the
great.
best place to reach you at?
Yeah, probably Instagram. I was like, what is my Instagram handle? It's my name, Shelby Kingsley, with two Y's on the end. But yeah.
Awesome.
All
Very cool.
right.
Well, I enjoyed this podcast, and look
Me too.
forward to doing more in the future,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Awesome. All right.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.